Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Ivy and I'm a YouTuber and content creator based in Asaba, Delta State, Nigeria. And in today's video, I am going to be sharing with you 10 things you should know before you say I do. Now, if this is a content you feel will get you triggered, I would suggest you pause right here, stop this video and do not bother watching further. But if you're curious and this is the content you would like to see, then please keep on watching and don't forget to subscribe. Welcome back, guys. So congratulations, sis. You just got engaged. You just said yes I will to the proposal by your partner. You are envisioning a blissful married life together and you are just so hopeful for the future. You are just ready and eager to be a wife. Congratulations once again, boss. This is a video you should watch, and if you watch it up till the end and you do the things that I'm going to advise you to do and you still feel okay, yes, this is a step I still want to take, then please, with all joy and happiness, you can jump right into that marriage. But if this 10 things I'm going to tell you pose some questions and you find yourself thinking and thinking, then those are red flags right there. So if you're getting married to someone from a wealthy home, you know, the rich of the rich, the creme de la creme, you know, the bourgeois, the odos, then this video is not for you. If you're getting married to a foreigner, then this video is also not for you. This video is for you if you're getting married, if you're a Nigerian woman getting married to your middle income average Nigerian man. Because what I'm saying that is that most Nigerian men that are not, you know, so exposed, they have this patriarchal thinking. So that's why I'm making these clarifications before we begin. Now, marriage is hard work. It is not a walk in the park. There are days you wake up in the morning and you're like, who sent me a message? What did I even see in this man? Why did I even agree to say I do to this? And there are days you wake up and you're like, yeah, I made a good decision. Thank you, Lord, for blessing me with this kind of husband. So you have, marriage is not just the wedding day. You have to be willing to put in the work, to put in the effort. And if down the line you decide to call it quits for whatever reason, always make sure that you've given it your best. You've done everything within your power as a woman to make it work, short of killing yourself or, you know, putting yourself in like really vulnerable positions or life-threatening positions. Okay, just make sure you've done your best to make the marriage work. I'm sure you're attending marriage counseling classes by now and they're teaching you some things like women should do this, men should do this. Yes, those are important as Christians if you're going to be doing a church wedding and all of that, but that is not the reality. So to begin with, you need to sit down. The first thing you should do is to sit down with your spouse to be and discuss your deal breakers. Yes, everybody likes to think of marriage as a do or part thing, but these are things that are going, your partner is going to know going in that this is a deal breaker with my wife. They need to know, not just assume that. They need to know these are my deal breakers. These are the things that I will do. It helps them sit up. It helps everybody maintain their lane. They need to know that these are the things I will do that will push my partner over the edge, that she will be willing to walk away from this marriage without looking back. So whenever they are moved to doing those things, they will think and say, this is risky. Oh, this is risky. If she finds out, she has already told me beforehand, if that makes any sense. So you need to sit down and discuss your deal breakers with your partner and, you know, let them know, okay, these are my deal breakers. For example, domestic violence, I will not tolerate it. There will be no second chances. The very first day you lift your hands on me, whether I have kids or not, I am walking out and I am not going to hear please, and that is the end of the relationship. Like, I won't tolerate cheating. When you start having the urge to cheat, come talk to me. Let's figure out what the situation is. If we're going to go into therapy to figure out get our shit together, whatever, we have to do that. But you see cheating, I will not tolerate it. Because there are people who probably must have lost parents. Maybe a father was promiscuous and ended up giving life-threatening disease to the mom, and they're like, no, I won't go through this. You know what your trigger is. So there are women that can tolerate cheating, no, but domestic violence they cannot tolerate. There are women that can tolerate different things. So you just know what your deal breaker is. Ask yourself, what is my deal breaker? What can this man do that will make me walk out of this marriage that I know I cannot tolerate, I cannot bear? So if you know you cannot tolerate second wife, look, of course, you want to get married under the act. Let me just advise you that first, as like your big sis. Very important if you're in Nigeria, as a woman, to get married under the act. I beg your pardon, because that one removes some kind of things. If the man wants to go and marry again, he has to divorce you first, and then he will not just add another wife to you. So if you know that you're not getting married under the act, or people have that agreement already down in place, I don't know the reason why you went into that agreement to Bosha. You know that marrying second wife is a deal breaker for you. Tell him, look, I'm not going to, whether it's 10, 15, 20 years down the line, 2 years, 3 years, whenever you get married to second wife, I'm out the door. I'm not ready to deal with the baggage of polygamy or any of that. Some people is having children outside. You can cheat, but don't have children outside. So just know what your deal breaker is and table it before your spouse and spouse to be, and say, look, these are my deal breakers. Know them, repeat them. If you can repeat them 2, 3, 4 times. These are my deal breakers. If you are still nice, tell me yours so that you guys are like on the same page. But I'm talking to the women now, not the guys. So let the guy tell the guy your deal breaker, and then repeat it and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. Let him know that these are my deal breakers, and when you break them, our deal is over. Now, if the guy starts like, why should that be a problem for you? Why should this be a problem for you? That is a red flag, and it's a sign for you to run before you say I do, because you know what? A broken courtship is far, far better than a broken marriage, okay? The second thing I would like you to do is to discuss in details about the following things I'm going to list. Because you know what? Hey, forget the love part. When the realities of marriage hit, hey, it's not just I love you, what have you eaten, what have you not eaten? No. Discuss in details about these following points. There are about 10 points. I'm going to list them ABC, so that it doesn't confuse you. So the first thing you are going to discuss in detail on is money. Money. How much do you earn? How much do I earn? How are we going to manage the house upkeep? Who pays for what? Is it going to be like a traditional home where you bring in the money and I look after the house front, like the chores and everything? Or are we both going to be contributing equally to the financial, purse of the house, 50-50, 60-40, whatever? Or are we going to split? If you pay for rent, I cover the food and other things? Or, how are we going to split the financial cost of running a home? And when the kids come, who pays for what? And all of that. So you have to discuss this in details. Know what each party brings. Know how you people are agreeing to split the bills. Whether you are agreeing for it to be a traditional home or for it to be a home where you both have this financial burden of the house split into two. Or are you not going to split it based on earnings? For example, the guy earns 300, you earn 150. Okay, bring 50% of your earnings, I bring 50% of my earnings, and then we have like a purse. Who is the more financially prudent one of us? Who can handle this money without dipping hands in it? Are we going to have a joint account where we put these monies into for the upkeep of the house. At the end of the month, once you get your salaries, you put this, I put this, and then we withdraw as we need. Or, just discuss those things down. No, discuss them down. Because that one they will tell you in the chat, the man brings the money, the man is supposed to take care of the home, the woman is supposed to take care of the man is supposed to bring the financial money, but finances, the woman is supposed to do this. It doesn't work like that in real life. I see those marriage counselors, they will not be with you in your house when the gas post is going down. That is the AO. Finances. B, you're going to discuss the sexual compatibility. Oga, are you an odogu? Are you an odogu? I know those early stages of marriage, like you want to every minute of every day. I know, but after the honeymoon phase, life sets in. You're going to work, you have things you're doing, so it might not be able to be getting the ratata every time. Okay, so sexual compatibility. How high is your sex drive as a man? Oga, how high is your sex drive? There are men who wants to 5 times a day. And there are women whose libido is a bit low and they can very well get by with twice a week. So you have to find out how high is your sex drive. They know what their sex drive is, and you know what your sex drive is. So if you guy has a high libido, you have a low libido, you have to know what you're getting yourself into. You have to be ready. Are you ready to step up to him, or is he ready to slow down for you so that you people start growing together? Or are we just going to reach an agreement of, okay, we're going to do this 3 times a week, 4 times a week as the spirit leads? Discuss all of that. Oh. How are we going to cope sexually? In that under the same subsection, you have the sex toys and all of that. Are you into this? Are you into that sexually? Find out though, so that you don't go and do Christian Grey and what's that girl's name? The BDSM crew. So know what you're getting yourself into. So you don't wake up one day and the guy is like POV, or he brings one kid to come and whip you and you're like, what is going on? No, find all these things out, please. They are very, very important. Then during times of like pregnancy and all of that, if I'm not in the mood, or like my libido is like, how are you going to cope? Can I like do oral or hand job or anything? Are you okay with that? Discuss all these things in details, because there is a reason why I'm telling you. They will not tell you this. So marriage is like a cult. Everybody in it, nobody wants to talk. They want you to come in and see for yourself. You understand? And nobody wants to really say, because it'll be like, okay, now my own bad pass, kind of. So I'm telling you the cocoa, I'm telling you the tea. Listen to me. Discuss all these things. That is the B. So the C is, you have to discuss the number of children you are going to have by God's grace. One can never tell how these things go. You might get married and start having difficulty conceiving, God forbid, or you might get married and just start giving birth right off the bat. Okay, so you have to find out the number of children that your partner wants and the sex. You'll be amazed that your partner wants just one child. Meanwhile, in your head, you're saying, I want 10 children, 9 children. Discuss all these things. They're very important. And these are things I've seen normally bring up issues in marriages. How many children do you want, Mr. Man? You already know how many you want. So the man says he wants 4, you want 3. Please, I want 3, but you will not look at it. Maybe I can go for 4. Or I want 2. We can now reach a compromise on 3. Or I want 2, I can't budge from 2. The man says he wants 4, it must be 4. So that you people know before you're going to the marriage that this is where we both stand. If you are not able to reach an agreement on where it's going to be, then you know that if you not decide we love each other too much, want to marry, or you know that's something that's going to come forward in front and meet you people, and it's going to cause quarrel and a lot of issues in the marriage. So number C, number of children. How many male? How many female? Are male children important to you? Like if you don't have a male child, it's what to push you to go and get a male child outside? Or are you like, I know low key like men want the male children, carry on my lineage and all of that, but there are some men who really don't have any, one way or the other, they're cool. Find out those things. You'll be amazed. Your spouse to be will tell you, no, if you don't have a male child, I need a woman who can give me a male child. I need, so find all those things out. That is the C part. Very, very important. The D of it is you need to find out the person's views on domestic help, house chores, and all of that. Because, like I said, the average Nigerian man is patriarchal. They see doing these things around the home as being the job of a woman. That's why I was telling you earlier that if you're getting married to a rich home or a wealthy home or a foreigner, like, these are norms to them. They have cooks, they have like the wealthy ones, they have in Nigeria, they have cooks, they have like housemaids, they have cleaners, they have chefs, they have housekeepers, they have so many things. So just like, what's the big deal on your view on this? I beg, we have this, we have gardeners, we have this and that. Or foreigners, they do them without you even asking. But in Nigeria, if a man does these things, he expects thanks from you because I helped you. It's you guys, you both own the household, you both live in the house, you both do everything. But the typical Nigerian man is getting married to you and he's having that mentality of, I paid your dowry, I paid your bride price, so you're automatically my slave. Do what I say you should do. When I say jump, ask me how high. Don't say why should I jump. So they expect you, like, to come to the house, you're supposed to do the chores, clean, sweep, do everything, take care of the home, cook, still contribute financially to the home. And theirs is just to bring their own share of the finances and come home and cross their legs. So you have to find out, what is your view on domestic chores? Are you going to help out in the house with the chores? Now, if it's a home where people are going to be doing the more traditional roles of him bringing in the cheddar and you doing it's already settled, But if it's a home where you're both splitting the financial costs, where do you stand on this? And you'll be amazed what is going to spew out of this your spouse to be's mouth. All these things are important because you have to have the discussion, not just assume, so that you can always refer to it that day. If possible, let it be in an eatery or just like sit down. We need to talk about these things. So it's an important conversation you can always refer back to. You have to ask, what are your views on domestic help? Can I get a living house help? What are your views on this? Some people have had like really nasty experiences growing up or in the past and they don't want to hear. What are your views on, can we have a chef, someone who comes to cook and go, no, yes. What are your views on those? You will be amazed at what you hear. What are your views on, someone coming in, cleaning and going, not living with us? What are your views on that? Because I'm working, you're working, and I won't be able to meet up everything. What are your views on that? Let him let you know his views on it. Because people are averse to this, and I've seen that all these things, they all end up causing issues in the home. And you see, Nigerian women these days, things are changing. Times are changing, and we are not able to be as much as our mothers then bear, though, because most of them were stay-at-home moms. You cannot be bringing each other with the spouse, and then you are still adding this. And by the time the kids start coming, when it becomes a hassle, it becomes so stressful that it tears homes apart. So you have to find out now, what are your views on this? Some men will tell you, you can bring house about, no pay. If you know you're financially buoyant enough to do so, okay, we bring. Or never, 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 I will not help you, and there will be no house help or gardener or chef or anything. Then you know what you're getting yourself into. Very, 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 very important. E of it, you have to ask your spouse to be his expectations on women working, on your job. I am working. You met me working. Because there are men who, as soon as you get married, they tell you, "You're my wife now, quit your job." I hope you will not be the kind of spouse that after marriage you tell me drop your job, because you are seeing me now, we are dating, we are engaged, I am working. I will not leave my job for any reason. You will hear what your spouse has to be. These are important discussions that need to be had. What are your views on women working, on your wife working. If I become more successful than you tomorrow, can you tolerate it? Can you bear it? Will you work with me towards my success? Same way I'm trying to work with you towards yours. I know that when it happens, actually, there's like a shift, but just get the person's viewpoints and opinions ahead. You'll be amazed. You will be amazed. You have to know all these things before you go in. So it's not like you're just going in and you're saying things, because you have seen marriages where under a year the marriage has packed up because all these questions were not asked. Ask, sit down, write them out. If I get pen and paper now, start writing all these things out. Go and ask and discuss. I am telling you, see that marriage, I've been in marriage now for about 6 years. It's not been like the smoothest 6 years or the easiest 6 years. We've had our battles. There have been times when we've been like, no, we don't think we can do this anymore. We want to call it quits, and then we'll still come back and like, okay, we're at the rocky points. Let's see how we can resolve ABC. I'm telling you the important points in marriage. Listening to me is very, very important. Nobody will tell you these things. So I know people will still come for me like, hey, what do you know you're saying? I am telling you, because when you go, you'll still be like, why this said it? So after the E, now we have F. What are your viewpoints on food? You look at it like, oh my God, these things are irrelevant. They are relevant because there are men who will tell you, I cannot eat the same soup twice. I need fresh soup. If you like cook the soup today, and as soon as the soup gets cool enough, you put it in the freezer, like it's still fresh. And they eat it that day until the next day. They're like, no, this soup is old. You are bringing a fresh one from the freezer and scooping it out and warming it for them to eat. But they're like, no. It's not like you're warming it morning, afternoon, night, or no. What are your views on food? Are you team fresh food? Can you eat refrigerated food? Do you have something to go to the market every day? Are you team my wife must cook for me? If my wife doesn't cook and serve me, I will not eat. On days when I'm down, can I outsource the cooking to someone? Maybe make soup, make stew. Are you averse to that? You have to find out all these things. It is very, very, very important. Very, very, very important. So that you know where the person stands. At times, they might just be pretending. You maybe while dating, you cook, they eat. They might just say jokingly, like, this soup, you don't say now. But they will not really come out right to say it until you get married. But when you are, in the end, they'll be like, you didn't ask. So now this is you asking. That is the 6 points. F6, I bought. So that we don't mix up everything down the line. That is the F of it. Your views on food. It is very, very important. The G of it now, I already touched on it earlier as well. Domestic chores. The view of your spouse on domestic chores. How is it going to help around the house without him thinking like he's helping you? Discuss this in details. I think when I was talking about domestic help, I already spoke about this. So, that's the G of it. Let's not just waste time here. Then the H of it, views on raising children. What are your views on raising children? This point is very, very important because you have like your spouse being as a man now. Men who are like averse to spanking, to punishment, to this and that. What are your views on raising kids? If my child does something wrong, I am of the view that I can spank and teach and caution. I can flog. There's a difference between a tap and that's abuse. I can, even the Bible said it now. Should I quote it? Are you waiting for me to quote it? Say, spoil the rod and spare the child. It's in the Bible. I'll put the verse in the Bible right here. For those of you who come for me, it's in the Bible. So, find out your views on raising children, punishment-wise, then of course, it also comes down to him helping out. Like when we have kids, do you see yourself doing school runs? Do you see yourself doing crash runs? Initially, then school runs. You will hear what he has to say, like no or yes. Do you see yourself helping out? Maybe looking after the kid while I dash some, maybe to the supermarket, to the mall or somewhere. You will hear, no, now I'm a guy, I can't do that. Or, of course, I don't know my kids too. So that you know what you are stepping into. Again, on kids, are you going to help with assignments when they come of age? They bring home assignments from, kindergarten. Is it going to help with the assignments? Is it going to help with like bathing when you are tired? Can you bathe your kids? Can you do this? Can you do that? Do you think it's the job of the woman to do this? Like you must do the assignment with them, you must bathe them, you must feed them, you must do this. Do you see yourself doing that? Because in truth, let me just state it here. Many Nigerian women, married women, are married single mothers. The men do little to nothing in the home. So you have to ask these questions. Your view on raising children, that is the 8th point. Then the 9th point, what are your views on fertility issues? Like if we end up having, delayed conception, are you willing to join me to the hospital to run tests and, see where the issues come from? And if it turns out maybe I have issues or you have issues, are you willing to work on them? If I have an issue, are you willing to stand by me, to stick by me, to see me through it? If you have an issue, maybe like low sperm count or whatever, are you willing to work on it? Like take your drugs and do all of that? Are you even willing to go with me to get checked out in the first instance? You're like, no, I'm a man. I've impregnated girls in the past and the children. I've done this, and nothing is wrong with me. Or guy, are you willing or are you not? Find out. People are sitting there, you are having the discussion. Find out. Number I now, that is the 9th point. The 10th point, which is J, is your views on traveling and staying indoors. Now, when a party A is an extrovert, party B is an introvert, fusion becomes a problem. So you're going to ask him, what are your views on that? Are you a Mr. Traveler? Your leg not they stay one place. While you are dating, you might not necessarily notice so much because you are still single. You can easily go out all the time and do all of these things. But by the time you get married and the kids, when you still get married, you can still be doing all these things. But when the kids start coming in, it's almost more like, okay, Oga, are you going to, I'm not saying don't do your normal the guys' night out and all of that, but are you still going to be spending time with me and the family? Are you always going to be away on trips, like maybe job trips or personal trips or, hanging out with your friends every single night? Are we going to be seeing you at all? That is it. J point. Very, very, very important point, okay? Now, you might be wondering, what is the importance of all these things? I'm noticing, I am seeing. No, noticing and seeing is not the same, because you might be like, I'm coming over to yours for the weekend, and he creates that time out for you because he knows you're going to be there. But you see, when you're married, you're staying in the same house. You're not going back to your place. He's not going back to his place. You are there. And you see those things you really didn't notice during dating, you begin to notice it at this point. So these are things that I feel like I wish someone had told me. I would have looked at all these things. I would have asked the right questions. Would have laid the framework, because it's not just I love you. Sit down and have a serious talk. We need to have a serious talk on these issues. They are very, very important. Dear Nigerian bride to be, as a young girl, if you are successful, now the guys are going to hate this, but I really don't care. I really, really don't care. If you're a successful young girl before you get married, the hope is that you're going to stay married for a long time. You're preparing for your marriage now, and having a prenup in place is very, very important to protect yourself as a lady. Now, if the guy also wants to have a prenup and you are coming up with a prenup, then of course, go ahead and sign it because he's signing yours, or you guys both want to do it together. Like, okay, of course, a prenup will definitely talk about him and you anyway, so it's same thing. But if you are a young girl who is going into marriage, you're getting married to a stranger, someone you didn't know before, and people can pretend. You can never really know truly, because it's the hope that the marriage turns out okay. But my late mom used to say something. She said, marriage is like standing on the express road, waiting for a bus to take you to your destination. Now, a bus comes along and you want to get into the bus. You have no way of knowing if it's a one-chance bus that 2 poles away, they're going to bring out guns and bail up you like, give me everything you have in your bag. And even the clothes you're wearing, your wig, everything, and throw you out, push you out the bus. It can also be a bus that has issues that you don't even really know has mechanical faults, and halfway to your destination, the bus packs up, and you have to start looking for a mechanic, and now you are stuck there for hours. Nightfall might even reach you there, and you have to go for a way to sleep, or you are stuck there. Like, you can never tell. It can also be a bus where there is nothing wrong with it, and it takes you safely to your destination. Now, you have no way of knowing at the point of boarding, but the best you can do as a traveler, or someone who wants to board the bus, is to, when the bus stops and you open the bus, is to look into the bus. Look at the bus. How is this bus? Does it look rickety? Can it carry me to my destination? Look at the people in the bus. Do these people look like, just gauge. These are all hardened men. I beg, I will not enter. Or, this bus, there are some women, there are some men. Let me just risk it. Or, it's okay, see their children there. Just gauge and follow your instinct. Like, okay, this bus is safe. You can still never know, but the best you can do is to do the little you can do. Why am I saying all this? I'm saying all this to say that you can never tell in marriage. Guys, like, men change. You see men that you are like, man, how can you pretend so much to get something? Some men just want to get married to you for what you own. Prenup, it has a way of sifting the chaff from the from the food. Some guys hear that and they just stick on their heels. Like, no. Some like, I love you, I will not. Yes, if you say you love me, prove it. Sign a prenup. A prenup will safeguard your properties, will safeguard any wealth you own before getting married as a young lady. Like, yes, even if the guy doesn't have as much as you, or he has his better, but he can also enjoy with you from the proceeds. But you are going in knowing that you are safeguarding whatever it is you owed before getting married. If, for example, also you inherited, maybe you are like an only child, or you are both like few kids, you inherited properties from your parents, a prenup will also help you safeguard that. Because not so long ago, we heard the story of the guy who got married to a lady, and her father passed on and left her house in Ikoyi, and his family, her in-laws, came and told her, you must hand over the papers of that house, transfer the house over to your husband because he's the head of the home. And the guy said, what? A house in Ikoyi my father left for me? You must be joking. And she carried her kaya and she left the marriage. So some guys can be moving mad. Find out. I have a prenup. I own some properties before now, and I have a prenup in place. I want you to sign. Discuss. Make sure you have that prenup in place as a lady. Protect yourself. It is very, very, very important, because no one knows tomorrow. That is the third point. Now, the fourth point is, are there habits about him that you are tolerating now that you are hoping will change when you eventually get married? See, those habits will not change. They will only get worse. So if those are habits that you see yourself not being able to tolerate for the long run, speak about it now. If he promises to stop after marriage, he's lying. If you are hoping he will stop after marriage, you are hoping against hope. it is very, very, very important that you address it now. If, for example, he's a chronic borrower, onigbese, look, hey, it will only get worse after marriage. It's not ready to stop. And like, you know what I mean, that onigbese, like a correct debtor that they used to chase everywhere. Like when you can be going out with him, you just bend and like, what is the matter? Like nothing. Or like you're with him and they're always embarrassing him for like borrowing. Onigbese, you bought here, you don't pay, you took this, you do not pay. Look, it's only going to get worse after marriage. If he's a gambler, he's always doing betting, which is last couple. Betting. That is gambling. Look, it will take your free money and gamble. It's not going to change after marriage. Address it now. It's very, very important. If he's drinking, if he's a drunk, it cannot change after marriage. If he's a womanizer, you're hoping, he's married now, he's having me all the time, he will not womanize again. Like, yeah, those things will only get worse after marriage. If he's a smoker, it cannot stop. It will only get worse after marriage. It will continue in it. If it's someone that stays late nights out, look, it will not stop it. It will continue in it. So address them now. Address those issues now. You yourself, you know yourself. If these are things you can tolerate, all fine and good. But if these are things you cannot tolerate, please call it quit at this point. Speak to him about it and say, I'm calling it quit because of this. I don't see you changing. And if he's telling you that he can change and you fix your wedding for next month, my dear, push the wedding forward and just wait for some time and see. And while you are waiting, could there be monitoring to see whether he's living up to his promise. That is the fourth point, I would say. Any bad habits you notice now, any nasty habit you notice now that you cannot tolerate, it will only get worse after marriage. Now, the fifth point. You are engaged now and you're preparing for marriage. You most likely will be fixing your marriage date within the next few weeks. And after you fix your marriage date and you start telling people I'm getting married on so and so date, a lot of secrets are going to start coming out. People who are looking out for you, people who just want the secrets to come out, people who he might have offended, who know things about him, who want to retaliate and revenge. You're like, yes, you want to marry now. This girl doesn't know this about you. I'll go and tell her. You see all those secrets that are coming out now? Don't take those secrets lightly. Check, like any secret you investigate it to the fullest extent. Check anything you hear now, take it seriously, because these are reasons you've seen why people will fix marriage dates and last minute they're calling it quits. Like, we're not getting married again because they have discovered some kind of things. Secrets will come out, they will come out, and you have to take those things seriously. Don't let yourself be gaslighted. This lady's coming out to say she gave birth to a child. It's a lie, it's a lie. She's lying. She's just bitter. She's my ex and this and that. Investigate thoroughly. This man is coming to say, I'm owing him money. It's a lie. Investigate thoroughly. This one is coming to tell me this house he's living in is borrow post. This guy is driving his borrow post. He doesn't even have anything. He doesn't have a job. He bets in the money and he just goes out to pretend he's working. He's like not doing anything for a living. And he's like, it's a lie. You always see me betting and going out in the morning. I've shown you my complimentary cards. I've shown you this. I've shown you that. Investigate thoroughly. It gets the reason why. Those secrets will come out and you have to do your due diligence. Don't just take the word of your spouse. Investigate properly, investigate thoroughly, and make sure that you find out the truth about that issue. Because be guided. Because most times it's not just jealousy. It's not just a bitter ex. It's not just someone just wanting to spoil your joy. It is the truth. Most times it is the truth, and it might just be God showing you before you say I do. It might just be God revealing it to you and helping you find your way out before you go into the marriage, helping you avoid to make a dastardly mistake, a very, very, very big mistake, the mistake of your life. Like I always say, a broken courtship is better than a broken marriage. Now, number 6, dear Nigerian bride to be, you're about getting married. Marriage is not a poverty alleviation scheme. Even if you're getting married to a multi-millionaire, a billionaire, it's not a poverty alleviation scheme. You have to have something doing. If you don't have something doing now, postpone that marriage. You need to have a source of income, a means of livelihood. You know why? Because it removes some kind of nonsense in marriage. Even if your spouse earns more than you, even if your spouse is a multi-millionaire, knowing that you can afford the basic things of your life by yourself without depending on somebody else for everything, just remove some kind of nonsense. I promise you that. And if you have a spouse who is like, I'm going to be paying you, you don't have to work, we'll pay you for a while. That payment might eventually turn into control, where it starts using it to have dominance over you. Like, if you don't do this, I'm not going to give you a salary. If you don't do this, I'm not going to give you a salary. And it's most often a tool that narcissists use to control their praise. Make sure you have a source of livelihood, a legitimate and stable source of income where you earn something. Be able to carry your own, to contribute however little in that home, in that marriage financially. It is very, very, extremely important. Never, ever be 100% totally dependent on a man. Nobody told me this. I am telling you, never ever. That is the 6th point I will tell you, because this could be the difference between a life and death situation in cases where it turns out that your spouse to be was just so you're in the marriage now, so smart and cunning that they were able to like slip through the cracks and eventually get you to settle with them, and you start discovering things, maybe abuse, emotional or physical abuse or some other things. You'll be able to live when you want to, because you have a source of income, you have a means of livelihood, something you can depend on, something you can use. It's better that your standard of living drops when you live like an abusive marriage or relationship than that you have nowhere to go, you have nowhere to start. There is nothing for you to fall back on. Like, you cannot, if you're even living in a 3-bedroom flat and what you can afford is like a 1-room bed sitter, maybe you and your kids, you can easily leave that marriage, that relationship, and go move in there, rather than you not even having money to even rent a face me, I slap you apartment. Do you understand? Most women, I feel like, are stuck in such relationships because marriages, let me put it that way, because at this point you're married, because they have nowhere, like they're thinking of their kids, like, where do I go with these children? How do I cope? How do I pay the fees? How do I pay rent? How do I feed? Because they don't have anything doing. And at that point you want to start, it's too late. Because at times it might not be immediate, it might be a couple of years down the line. At that point, it's too late for you to start like looking for a job, to start doing this and not doing that. Very, very, very important. Very, very, very important. Because there are also instances where like your spouse might end up losing their jobs and you have to pick up the slack in the home financially. You have to pay rent, pay school fees, feed the children, buy clothes, buy books, do all of that, while your spouse is trying to struggle to meet up. Look, as a woman, just have a means of livelihood. Have something doing. Because I've seen instances where women are pregnant and they have to pay for their antenatal visits. discharge themselves from hospital, pay for their delivery, like either CS or vaginal delivery. Some of their spouses will outrightly refuse. Like, it's your life on the line here. So if you don't have something to do it, you are left to I beg. It's better you have something doing. You have, and as a woman too, not even only having a source of livelihood, you also have some little savings to your name. Money, like my late father used to say, money for the rainy day that you cannot touch even under duress. It is very, very, very important. So you need to make an effort to earn something, so that in case you end up with a lazy man or a selfish man or a man who you get to discover some aspects to after marriage, you have your money to cover up some things for yourself. Means of livelihood as a woman is extremely important. Don't be team, no, my husband must take care of everything. Even if you are that team, my husband must take care of everything in the house. Want to do traditional rules, take care of everything in the house, and then I take care of the house chores and running of the home. That's still okay, but also have something doing. Let your money just be going to savings if you have nothing to do with it. Very, very important. That's the 6th point I would advise you to look into, talk about, and thoroughly, sort out before you say, yes, I will on that altar. The 7th point now is going in after marriage. Because these points I'm listing, it's like, okay, before you say I do, but this is both before, during, and after you say I do. Don't ever let your spouse separate you from your family and close friends. Now, if your spouse is trying to separate you from a friend because of a particular reason, like your friend is coming on to me, or A, B, C, a specific reason, then you look into that reason and investigate properly and then make your decision. But if your spouse is trying to cut you off from your family, your close friends, your good friends whom you've known for years and you've not had any issues with in the past, it's for a particular reason. They're growing you. That is pure narcissistic behavior, because some men will try to cut you off so that you have no one to complain to cry to meet for advice and all of that. We all know the story of the late singer Osinachi, whose husband allegedly beat to death, and we know like how he went about doing that, separating her from her, I think her twin sister, her family, and everybody, even in the church. Did not even give her the chance to speak to people, to expose what he was doing. So you have to ensure that you never, ever, ever cut off from your family. Some go as far as planning things, plotting things, conniving, plotting to separate you from your family. Don't allow that. Never, ever, ever allow that. Even while you are preparing for the marriage now, while you were dating, you will notice all these tendencies. Guys are like that. They can't hide it for so long. That is the 7th thing I will advise you to look into, to look out for. The 8th thing I will advise is this. You might come from me. You might say, no. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. This is my personal opinion. If you can, as a lady, because men are built in a particular way, men are built to be providers. I always tell people it's easier when the man is richer than the lady, because the man is built that way. It's how God created them. Because whether we like it or not, men and women are wired differently. At times it seems like men are from Mars, but they are wired totally differently. I read a couple of books before marriage. I attend Living Faith Church, by the way. Books before marriage, like Christian books, and I got to understand some of these things. Men are wired differently from how they think, how they reason, how they act. Men and women are wired totally differently, and if you don't understand this, it becomes a problem. Because they are wired to be providers, it's easier when a man is richer than a lady than when a lady is richer than a man, or is well off than a man. When a lady is better off, is financially it's always a problem for the man because of the way they were wired, the way they were created, their ego and everything, and even things that ordinarily would not cause issues when, or if the reverse were the case, it would cause issue because now the man is viewing it, oh, because you are richer than me, you teased me this particular way, oh, because you are richer than me, you spoke to me in this particular tone because you are richer than me, and on a normal day, it's like a tone you would have used, and if he was like at par with you or maybe richer than you, it would not have complained. Do you understand? So if you can, try not to marry down. I said it. Try not to marry lower than your tax bracket. Yes, the future is bright. Yes, the man might grow to be like richer than you. He might be growing and this and that. But my advice still remains, try not to marry lower than your tax bracket. Now, you can see, at least, try not to marry so speedily, fast, quick. He just meets you, you're getting married. No, have enough time to study the man. Look at him. Does he have potential? Is he going somewhere? Is it someone I see doing well in the future? Does he have that drive? Or is he the lazy type of man who just wants to get married and be taken care of? You can gauge all these things. You can gauge them. Does he have this poverty mentality, poverty mindset? Know all these things. Very, very, very important, I say again, because, when you marry someone so far off your tax bracket, I've discovered you have different viewpoints on different things. On traveling, if you're someone who is used to like taking vacations every year, you get married to someone like lower than your tax bracket, they see that as wasteful spending. Why you see it as relaxation? It starts causing issues in marriages. You want to buy an LV bag of a particular amount, and saying like, why not just buy go to the market and buy any bag? Why must it be a branded, a name, a known name? Why must it be this? Those are issues because you grew up in different backgrounds. You grew up, in different environments. So there'll be that difference. But when you are getting married to someone who maybe even did not grow up in a particular within a particular background, but eventually strove to get into that tax bracket, they become exposed, a bit. They have their perception becomes like a bit wider, so they don't view things the way they ordinarily would. Can you imagine when you were like much younger? And I remember then there was this jeans called True Religion. I was selling the jeans about 25k or something, or 75k that time. And that time we were like, go for bid, I can never buy something of this or perfume of this amount or this amount. And then suddenly you are earning so well and you're doing so well, and it's just like, oh, okay, you're even buying things that 20 times that cost. It's not pushing you anymore. Like, you're not like having to think about it, like seeing it as like, oh, I have to spend so much. If you get my drift, which is very, very important, very, very necessary. If you're from a rich home as well, try not to marry down, because there are men who pretend just want to get married to you so that they can tap into this wealth. And all these men can do proposal. So be mindful so that they don't suck you dry with borrowing or with you overspending, or suck you, or milk you so much that are now stuck, like, because you don't want to lose both ways. Like, okay, I spent so much on this guy, I can't now lose the relationship. So be mindful of all those things, because a point will definitely come if you go lower than your tax bracket, if you go lower than your class, where their ego will definitely come in. And they will either want to suppress your financial growth or start resenting you. Now, there's a movie that came out a while back, Fair Play, on Netflix. Some men just want you as long as you are not bigger than them, as long as you don't surpass them. Go watch that movie and see what I'm talking about. See, you'll be amazed that there are men who will tell you, my wife can work and earn a living, but she can never earn more than me. And when if she gets to that stage, I will just divorce her. She will quit that job. So it's better, in my own viewpoint, that you don't go lower than your tax bracket, you don't go lower than your class. So that's the 8 points I will advise you. The ninth point will be that don't be in a rush to start having kids after marriage, because that is often always the make or break points in relationships. Now, that first year, at least, no matter how much of a rush you are in, that first year after marriage, take out the time to try to bond with your spouse, to try to, entwine and mesh your lives together before you start going for kids. Because so when the children comes, there's a strain you put on that marriage, and if the bond is not strong enough, the marriage can collapse under that strain. So try as much as possible to wait for at least a year after marriage. You get to know yourselves. You get to know, some parts of him. You get to know if truly this is a man you see yourself spending the rest of your life with. You get to adjust, some expectations. You just get to bond better. You get to know yourselves better. You get to understand yourselves better. And you also get to spend more time together, just the both of you, building your bond, loving yourselves. Because once more, like I always say, when a baby comes, it kind of causes a shift in your relationship. It might put a strain. If that bond is not so strong, it might put a strain, because one way or the other, your focus will always shift to your baby, and then you are under more stress, and then he's under more stress, and the quarrel starts, and they begin to intensify. One or two things, like a child is a blessing, but if you don't have that 1 year to put yourself mentally get yourself mentally ready, let me use that word, like the marriage just starts going downhill from there. Because after childbirth, your life is no longer yours. As a married couple, you can just wake up and say, let's just go on a vacation. Let's just travel to Lagos. Let's travel to Abuja. Let's travel to Port Harcourt. Let's go out. Let's go hang out till 1 a.m. till 2 a.m. Let's go hang out. And now you have a baby. And it's so difficult because the baby gets... See, you might be like, when the baby comes, you don't see change anything. I'll say, carry baby and go out. By the time the baby comes, you know that life is different. Because babies are a handful. You want to sleep, you want to rest, you want to have time to yourself, and the baby is becoming cranky and everything. You're like, oh my God. Like, when you say let's go out, you're not even in the mood for all of that. And at the point, it's like you start resenting your spouse, because your life is no longer your life, but their life is still their life. Because you're a mom, and the burden falls on you to be the caregiver for that child. You have to breastfeed. You see that in antenatal now. You have to know how to take care of the child. And you're just there, and the guy is picking up his bag, and like, I'm going on a boys trip with the guys, and you're like, what? I mean, you leave me alone with the kid, and that resentment starts growing. So it's always very important, like I said, to discuss on, before marriage, ask your spouse their opinions on children, and how they will help out with the children and everything. And also after marriage, just like wait a year before you start having kids. Extremely important. It helps a whole lot. The third and final thing I will advise is to always try to communicate. You have to know the communication pattern of your spouse. Is it the kind of person who writes something written down, or is it the verbal person? Communication is always key. If it's the kind of person who doesn't like confrontation, like discussing face to face, he's always shying away from it or avoiding it, then you know it is written. It's like a written down person. You can do like a WhatsApp message, like, hello dear, I'm having issues with A, B, C, D. These are the points I'm having. He'll respond to you. You respond to him. On this, I don't like this. You are always doing it, and this and that. He will respond back to you on this. If he's the kind of person who is okay with conversation, and when you're having conversation, make sure it's not when you are angry. When you're angry and vexing, that's one time to have the communication. No. That's one time to have the conversation. You calm down. You pick out a time when you are calm, you're level-headed. You think of what you're going to say. You call your spouse and be like, okay, in this area, I really don't like what I'm seeing. In this area, I really don't like what I'm seeing. In this area, I really don't like what I'm seeing. Try to be friends. Even if you're not really friends before you got married, try to be the friend of your spouse. To a certain degree, it helps with the communication a whole lot. Do not let things fester overnight. Like when something is bothering you, don't let it fester into the next day unless you see like you are so triggered that you're so pissed off that you know that even speaking about it is going to trigger you and bring some more tension. Then and only then can you allow yourself wait till the next day, but don't let it fester on for so long. Do not let your anger simmer. It is very, very dangerous. And do not ignore things that you are not okay with. Anything that rubs you up the wrong way, speak about it, because if you keep it inside and you start to bear, it builds resentment, and the day you explode, it will be over a very minute thing. Everybody will be like, over this small thing now that you're acting like this. But no, it's been like a build up over time. So learn to communicate. Having said all these things, I'm going to add some other snippets, not really pointers, but just things you should know. Men are like children. You are going to talk and keep on talking and talking and talking. We are going to talk. Take out the trash. Take out the trash. Take out the trash. Take out the trash. The sink is spoiled. The sink is spoiled. The sink is spoiled. The bulb is burnt. The bulb is burnt. The bulb is burnt. Before they listen, like you have to repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat. Baby will go to crash. Baby will go to crash. There was this interview that Kiki did with Toki Makinwa where she was talking about how she was always telling her spouse, like, it will be going like, I think Shanola also was her child's name, has to go to crash, she will forget. Like, she constantly did that thing for like 2 weeks before it dawned on him, like, okay, in the mornings, okay, let's go. You have to. If you're someone that such a thing easily triggers, you have to learn in that area. That men are like babies, you have to keep on talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking before it sinks into their head. If it is something that you have to keep on doing for days and weeks, please do. If you're someone like me, someone like me is how my late dad brought us up. He brought us up to be so independent, self-sufficient. When I speak on something 1, 2, 3 times, the gen is faulty, and you're not forthcoming, I'm making use of the gen myself. The next now, I'll just get the gen repairer, fix it, and sort it out. And then when you come back, you're like, oh, the gen is working. Like, no, I fixed it. Some men, they find it like, why didn't you wait? Benny, I've been telling you this thing for the past 2-3 weeks. You're not doing anything about it. I need the gen to function because I have this, I'm doing with it. You are not forthcoming. So I had to do it. Some men, it rubs them off the wrong way. It's almost more like, okay, you're trying to be the head of the home. You're trying to take over my responsibilities. But that's why you have to let them know, look, I have been saying this and saying this and saying this, but you were not doing anything about it. Calmly, or not, what do you mean? No, calmly. So I had to sort it out. So you have to know the kind of person you are as well, the kind of person you're getting married to. Of course, during dating, you must have seen the kind of person you were, whether you are the kind of person who handles things as they come, the kind of person who her car will just get spoiled, she will just call the mechanic, fix it. Or are you the kind of person who her car will get spoiled and you have to call your spouse and be like, okay, my car is spoiled, I'm stuck here, and you will not have to come and sort it out. So you have to know all those things. You have to avoid being a superwoman. When you get married, you have to avoid it with all. Even if you are so independent that you are so used to it, you have to avoid it because it is the leg you start with that your spouse will expect you to continue with. You have to let him know, I'm not a superwoman. I can't do all things. We're in this together. Very, very important. As a woman in Nigeria, like I said earlier, most Nigerian women are married single mothers. They contribute financially to the home. They take care of running of the home. They take care of the chores, like the kids and everything. So at the point it gets so stressful, know that going in, they are seeing you are stressed, so you have to always speak out. I need help with this. I need help with this, I need help with this. Don't just be in silence and be resenting your spouse, because at times they just overlook all these things. It has not really sunk into their head that like this one is going through so much. So communication, going back to communication now, is very, very important. As a woman, Nigerian woman, you have to know that you matter, your wants, your needs are valid, your wants and your needs, they matter. Marriage is a partnership of two coming in together. You have to know that in time will come when you call a spouse out on a particular thing and they will start telling you that you nag a lot, because the norm now is for most Nigerian men, when you call them out on their shit, when you call them out on things where you feel like they need to sit up on or they do wrong, they'll start telling you, you're not a peaceful person. I want a woman who will give me peace. In other words, I want a woman who will tolerate all my nonsense, all my shit, without calling me out. No, you always have to speak up when something is rubbing you up the wrong way. Speak up when you're upset. Speak up when you don't like particular traits. Speak up when you need help. And you also have to know that being submissive as a Christian woman does not mean you being a slave, does not mean you not having a say, does not mean you blindly following and obeying orders, does not mean that you cannot have an opinion of your own or a mind of your own. You know, it's so funny in the book of Ephesians 5 verse 21 upwards, when the Bible was talking about submission. It first said, submit ye one to another. Submit one to another. And submit to the wife. The wife submits to the husband submits to the wife. In the fear of the Lord. It also speaks about men loving their wives as Christ loved the church, and wives submitting to their husbands as the head of the home. So men always likes to use this thing of, you're not a submissive wife, you're not a Christian, you're a Christian, you're a submissive wife. There are some men who go as far as saying you have to hand over your income, total income to me, you have to do this, you cannot talk back at me, you can't do this, you can't do that. No, we're all humans, and don't let yourself be conditioned in that way. And the final thing I will say before I end this video is, when things are going wrong, speak up. Don't cover, because men can be very funny. When things are going wrong, speak up to those around you. Don't cover things. So yes, at times it's important to say, okay, there are secrets in the family where you keep, but you must have those close and trusted people around you. You know them, not just anybody and everybody. Speak up and let them know this is what is going on. This man, CCC, it's very, very important. Now, thank you guys so much for watching. I wish you a happy and blissful married life. If you decide to go ahead to say I do to your spouse, I wish you the best of life in your new journey. I pray you have kids. I pray you have a loving and a healthy relationship. And I pray that you have the kind of marriage you dream of. Okay, now if you watch this video as well and you are seeing so many red flags and you're like, no, I don't think this is the best decision for me, like I said, a broken courtship is better than a broken marriage. You are free. You have every right to walk off right now and say, no, I'm sorry, but I don't think this is the choice for me. You matter. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for staying tuned till the end, and until I come your way again next week, remain blessed. Bye guys.